Welcome everybody. My name is Herr Glückmann, and in the next minutes I will give you an overview on how to master the digital transformation with ARIS Cloud. So first of all, what is digital transformation? Well, digital transformation relates to all changes in human society which are able through the application of digital technology. So all changes in society which are associated to the application of digital technology. More precisely, digital transformation means that new types of innovation and creativity are enabled in each and every domain of a human society. So it's really about disruptive innovation based on technology. To give you kind of an example where digital transformation changed an entire business model, I'd like to talk a bit about Blockbuster and Netflix. Blockbuster, some of you might remember that that company followed kind of a typical physical landlord business model, which means they were renting VHS tapes on a daily or weekly basis. Well, because of that, they had a large number of physical assets, which was content or movies or tapes. And Blockbuster was profiting by charging customers for the temporary use of those assets. Typical landlord business model. Well, that business model continued to be successful as the market evolved beyond VHS tapes into DVDs. And it seemed back in the days that Blockbuster was in a very good position in that marketplace. And it seemed that they were adapting rather well to, well, changes in innovation. Yeah, so they, for instance, incorporated video game rentals. Well, that was until Netflix actually began to poke holes in that traditional video rental business model and kind of exposed its weaknesses. Well, Blockbuster, at its peak, had stores in every major town across the US, every major town. They had to do that to make the video rental process reasonably convenient. But even with that many stores, the company could not compete with the convenience of a classical mailbox. And that is kind of typical a problem with that landlord business model. It's the same for car rentals, yeah, where a customer is responsible for picking up and dropping a car at a designated location. The problem was for Blockbuster that the sheer number of stores that they had to maintain in order to provide kind of a good convenience created considerable infrastructure costs. Costs with which a startup like Netflix would not have to deal with. So Netflix was not just able to run a business with lower cost. They were also able to identify hidden opportunities that were resulting out of digital technology. Well, right in the beginning, or during the transition from the VHS tape to the DVD, there was kind of a new opportunity in the market to send movies via the postal service at much lower cost, because sending a DVD was obviously way cheaper than sending in VHS tape. And the cost of mailing and returning a larger VHS tape would probably cause some problems for Netflix, because that would have cost way more costs. Letter disc, they fit easier in an envelope, made transition to mail and order rentals way easier. Netflix was also one of the first companies that successfully developed an online recommendation engine that helped customers to find new movies and TV shows. And that recommendation engine was obviously based on the movies or TV shows those customers already had consumed. Yeah? That is pretty common today, but back in the days, Netflix recommendation engine was extremely innovative. Along with that, the company created a concept of the movie queue, which allowed customers also back in the days, for the first time, to build a wish list. A wish list for movies that they would like to watch in the future. And that also helped the customers, obviously, to build up their movie pipeline. And it also helped Netflix to bond the customer a bit closer to the business. if Blockbuster would have seen the Netflix threat sooner, Blockbuster could have done the same business model adjustments. And they actually had better ways to do that because they had a vast retail infrastructure, which they could have used for an omni-channel business model, for instance, but they didn't. So while Blockbuster focused on their traditional bricks and mortar experience and business model, Netflix was completely focusing on the shop-at-home experience. And it's interesting because Netflix actually gained its initial competitive advantage not through a complete new business model. Yeah, it was kind of the same business model, but they combined different business models. So they combined the physical landlord model with the subscription. And the subscription pretty much is an all-you-can-eat business model. Yeah, so you could rent all the DVDs that you could watch in a month for a flat fee. That's the all-you-can-eat business model. And the customers were allowed to keep the DVDs for an unlimited period of time. And they did not have to pay late fees, which actually was kind of a problem for many customers at Blockbuster, that if you did not return a movie, you had to pay a late fee. Yeah? And all those benefits led the customers or actually motivated the customers to pay a flat fee to Netflix because they got the recommendation, they had no late fee, they had an all-you-can-eat business model. Well, today, Netflix is the world's leading internet television network with over 62 million members in over 50 countries. And Blockbuster is gone. The quote you see on that slide, I think is really interesting, that the Netflix CEO confessed that he actually tried to sell his company to Blockbuster, but Blockbuster wasn't interested. So I think that is a perfect example on how a digital transformation led to a complete change of an industry. Please see those two slides as a little teaser. I will dive way more into detail in a few minutes on the difference of the business model. Well, obviously, the video rental industry wasn't the only industry which was impacted by the digital transformation. So if you take, for instance, Borders. Well, some of Borders' business problems they were facing weren't actually the company's fault. Yeah, they had hundreds of places where you could buy books online or in a physical bookstore. Yeah, so hundreds of physical bookstores all over the US. Yeah, the problem was obviously that Borders made kind of a mistake. So they had too many stores that lost money. They realized too late that the market changed, so that people wanted to consume electronic books. They missed an omni-channel business model, so that they would combine the online channel and the traditional brick-and-mortar business. Ran out of business because of that. The problem with Borders was really that the market changed and Borders didn't react to that. Polaroid. Well, Polaroid was in the 90s one of the strongest brands in the world, and they had enormous technical innovations. And it was actually the synonym for instant photography. So they owned 100% of the instant photography market, and some of you might remember those cameras. Well, while other companies were exploring digital technologies, like digital photography, obviously, Polaroid was actually doing the same. In fact, Polaroid had developed one of the best digital cameras. But when it approached the commercialization stage, Polaroid faced an internal pressure that prevented it from commercializing this new product. The reason for that was that a senior manager at Polaroid said, why should we accept a 38% margin if we can get a 70% margin in films? So internal forces, the internal sales management said, let's stop the digital camera because we make less money than by selling films. And in 2001, they filed Chapter 11, bankruptcy protection, ran out of business. Kodak, kind of the same story. In the 20th century, Kodak was one of the world's powerhouses. Also in the 90s, it was regularly rated as one of the most valuable brands in the world, and Kodak ran out of business. When digital photography took off, Kodak wasn't simply ready for it. When Kodak tried to cope with digital change and follow the digital photography path, it was simply too late. And the question is really, why didn't Kodak invent Instagram or an app like that, or really made its way into the digital age? Well, actually the problem for that was that the company was able to change its business model, its culture, its processes. And there are more examples like that. Last example I want to deep dive a little bit more is Neckermann, a company based in Germany. They had a classical mail order business. So they sent out catalogs where you got product descriptions. You could order them with traditional mail. They had actually all it took to be the Amazon of Germany. They got the content. They got a B2B marketplace. But they did not make the step into the digital age, and they ran out of business, laying off 2,500 people. So taking all those examples together, what we see is that all companies who kind of ruled their market in the 80s, in the 90s, and did not make the step into a digital business pretty much ran out of business. So we see that doing the digital transformation is key to survive in the business. So to give you a few examples where digital transformation actually founded companies or made companies possible. If you take Uber. Uber today is the world's largest taxi company, and they own no vehicles. The world's most popular media channel, Facebook, creates no content. And the world's largest accommodation provider got no real estate. All they got is technology. All they got is a platform where users exchange transactions. And those businesses only work because of technology. And those businesses will run traditional brick-and-mortar business out of the market. To give you a few ideas on how the digital transformation is changing the economy at all, I got 4 examples which I actually like a lot. If you take the first point, blurring the digital and physical world. One great example here is Strava. Some of you who like to run or cycle might know Strava. Strava is doing a great thing. It's an app which you put on your Android device or your Apple device, and you take that app with you when you go cycling. And you go on a normal road bike track, and your bike computer, your phone will tell you that a segment starts. And then after a while, 30 minutes or something, it will tell you that the segment ends. And when you are back at home, you can actually see how other cyclists were doing on that segment. So you do a virtual race against other cyclists, even they are not even there. Yeah, so they kind of build up a race scenario on an empty bike track. Isn't that great? It's really blurring digital and physical world. Well, one other example how the digital transformation is changing the economy is that customers are getting way more powerful. They're getting way more influence, pretty much based on product ratings. Well, Amazon introduced them very successful a very long time ago, and today those 5 stars on Amazon will decide if a product is successful or not. Yeah, they can make you successful or not. And with that transparency, customers decide at the end of the day if you will be successful in that marketplace or if you fail. And it's the same with Airbnb, it's the same with hotel apps like TripAdvisor apps or all that. Yeah, customers got way more powerful than they did just 10 years ago. More and more we see that people, business, and physical things are being connected in a way it was never possible before. A great example here is DriveNow, which is a joint venture from BMW and Sixt. So DriveNow is in each major hub in the world. You get an app, you see where a DriveNow car is available, you just go to that car, you can open it with your phone. You'll see on your phone how much gas is in the car, and you just ride it to a place where you need to go, and then you drop it there, and you will pay, you pay for the usage. Yeah. So it's really bringing together, as the point says, people, the business model from BMW and Sixt, and the cars itself. And that business model would not be possible without technology, obviously, and enabling the rental economy. Yeah, you might remember the times where you were really proud on your book collection and CD or music collection or your movie collection, which actually consumed quite a lot of space in your living room. And that also completely changed, because why would you have a large a movie collection at home if you got Netflix or Amazon Prime or another provider like that? Why would you have the movies at home? Because they are available anyway in an all-you-can-eat business model. So what's happening is that people get rid of things they own because they don't need them anymore, because it's available all the time and they don't have to store it at home. And what started at home actually grows to businesses as well. So movies, music, we already talked about. The rental economy goes further. Same with cars. I talked about DriveNow already, but also software. Yeah. Why would you buy software and own it if you can subscribe to it? Yeah, for the time span you need it, which actually also has an impact on Software AG. Because obviously here we also have to revoke our business model to provide cloud software, and we did it because ARIS Cloud is supporting the rental economy. If you have a proven project, you subscribe to ARIS Cloud, you run a project with that, and if you don't need it anymore, then you stop the subscription. Yeah, it goes further. Now these days you can also subscribe to or rent business jets, you can rent business power tools, and all different things. The question for many organizations is, what does that mean for my business? Yeah, so how can I actually respond quickly to those changing market environments? Yeah, how can I avoid the mistakes that companies like Polaroid or Blockbuster did? How can I take advantage of new technologies? So everybody's talking about cloud and so the rental economy, about social, the empowered customer with the ratings, mobile, so multi-channel access, omni-channel business models. How can I actually take advantage of all these things? Another question you hear a lot is, how will the customer or the behavior of my customer change? So if they were used to buy my products, how will their demand change if they will just rent the products? So with DriveNow and BMW, that's a big question that the automotive companies ask themselves. Yeah? If customers buy a 5 Series, they might have bought it because it comes with a certain prestige. You could show that you got a certain status, but maybe that is not the case if you just rent the car in that DriveNow model. Yeah, you just need a car which brings you from point A to point B. So here also for the automotive industry, they might have to change, and they did already, the way how they scope their products and think about what the use case is behind it. How can I manage risk and comply with regulations? Well, obviously, if you get more and more customer data because they subscribe to your services, if you're using big data to get more intelligence on how your products are being used. You need to make sure that the data is secure, and you need to make sure that you comply with the regulations in your industry. Another question which comes up quite often is, how can I actually create and deliver new digitized products or services? How can I do that? From a development perspective, but also, and probably more importantly, on a change management perspective, right? So to avoid the difficulties Polaroid had. Yeah? So first of all, you need to have the courage to understand that you need to change. Then you need to understand how you need to change and where. Yeah? Then you probably have to develop products or services which are innovative. But as we learned from Polaroid, then it needs the courage to actually roll that out in the market. And maybe that product is cannibalizing your revenue for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. But if you don't do it, you might run out of business in 5 years. Yeah? Again, Polaroid example is really good for that. Also a valid question, which we hear quite often. Everybody is talking about connected devices. Yeah, I gave you a few examples on that. But what does that mean for my business? Which objects should actually talk to each other to kind of create an added value for my customers? So to bring that all together, how do all these questions impact my business? What should I do with that? Well, a business is the sum of its processes. A business can only be managed if you know its processes, and a business can only be modernized if you modernize the processes. So if you want to digitize your business, if you want to go with your business through digital transformation, your processes need to be digitized. Your processes need to go to a digital transformation. So you have to bring all those questions together and have a look on how they impact your processes. For doing that, it's important to listen to voices. Actually, to 3 different voices. First of all, the voice of the customer. What do customers want? How do they change? What industry benchmarks are they used to? And when I talk about industry benchmarks, it's really important to talk about cross industries. Yeah, so if a customer is used to the great logistics services from Amazon, they might expect the same services from you. Otherwise, they will not be happy. Yeah, even if you are in a different industry. The second voice is the voice of the market. Well, obviously, you need to understand what is the market doing. What are my competitors doing? Are there new innovations which pop up and have an impact on my business? Are there new technologies available which I should use? Are there new competitors? Yeah? So Apple these days is a competitor in the watch industry. 5 years ago, nobody would have expected it. Google might be, or will be probably, a major competitor in the automotive industry. Yeah, so new competitors are popping up everywhere with disruptive innovations. And it's important to continuously have a look on the market to see where possible competitors could pop up, what USP they would bring, what innovations, and to actually modify your business to cope with them. While talking about business, the third voice is the voice of the business. And voice of the business means, well, you got concerns in your business or certain requirements you can work with. Yeah. What's important here is to understand what makes your business unique. And that sounds like a simple question, but quite often when I talk to customers and ask, well, what makes a business unique? What are your core capabilities? What are your core processes? Why do customers buy your products? Then not each and every customer can answer those questions. Yeah, and it's important, first of all, to understand, am I successful because I provide superior customer service and a superior product quality, then probably for a higher price? Or am I successful because I'm the price leader and my products are so cheap that customers don't even expect a good customer service? Yeah, that question needs to be answered first, and then you need to derive your strategy. Yeah, so if you need to provide superior customer service, then you should think about an entire customer experience management unit in your organization, which is taking care that customer experience is being managed the right way. Yeah. The important thing is those different voices need to be brought together, and they need to be used to define process requirements. Let me now jump back to the Netflix example. And let's see what the voices from Netflix could have looked like. So, the voice of the customer for Netflix. Well, they want multi-channel, which means if they watch a movie, they want to watch it on the TV. But they also want to be able to watch it on their tablet or their mobile phone. Yeah, so they want multi-channel. They want user ratings because they want to see how others like the movie. Yeah, because that is actually way more reasonable than just reading some critics or reading what the production company wrote about the movie. They want personalization, which means they want a recommendation. They want to see, based on their history, which products are suitable to their needs. It's easier to find content, and they want good content. Good content means good movies, good TV shows, which they then can consume. The voice of the market, obviously Netflix has to have a look on the pricing of the competition. But also here are two things how to cope with different prices. Yeah, so you could say, well, I got a higher price, which Netflix is having compared to some competitors, but the price is worth it because I got superior customer experience. I'll come to that a bit later, but also the superior content. And this is actually why Netflix started to produce their own TV shows, like House of Cards, because this content cannot be provided to their customers by any other competitor. And many of their customers subscribe to Netflix because they like that show. So from a poor rental business, which started with postal service, as I said back in the days, using postal service to send DVDs across the country, they are now turning their business into a production business. So they produce content more and more successfully. And obviously, customer experience is another important point. Netflix is taking care that the customer experience is superior to their competitors. And all the things which are under voice of the customer need to be handled the right way, need to be managed, need to be controlled, so that customers say, well, I'm happy to pay a bit more with Netflix because it's just better. Well, the voice of the business, obviously many services need to be automated just to provide faster services, because automated services are always faster than manual services, and an infrastructure which is available and scalable is also really key. That is why Netflix is using Amazon Web Services infrastructure, AWS, because it scales great. 2/3 of the internet traffic on an average day between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. is Netflix in the US, because so many people watch shows on that on Netflix. So you need to have a proper infrastructure. There's no way in the world that you can actually buy those servers and just let them in a data center, and when you need it those few hours, you just use it. That would be way too expensive. Netflix would not have worked with that. Netflix could only work because they're using infrastructure as a service. That's the only way how they could build up their business. And that infrastructure is highly available. Obviously, when you go to Netflix, it needs to be there, and it needs to be scalable, what it definitely is. But how can you bring that together in the process view? I'm now making a step into the world of ARIS and into the world of business process analysis. And those of you who know ARIS know that visual which you see right now. It's the ARIS house, which means it provides you different views on a business. So let's start with the organizational view. So in the organizational view, you would use ARIS, or in that case, ARIS Cloud, to describe the Netflix organization. Yeah, so what's my org chart? You also describe your partner organization. With whom do you deal with? Which roles are involved? And Netflix would also probably have a view on their production teams. If you take the data view into consideration, which data assets would be important for Netflix? Well, obviously, Netflix needs big data capabilities because they are dealing with a vast amount of data. So they need to be able to process that data and to get intelligence out of that data really fast. Well, customer data will be key. Here also, it needs to be ensured that security is guaranteed. User ratings are really important in that data part, and obviously the video content. And you see the fed marked text are the points which I brought over from the 3 different voices. On the IT and function side, important IT capabilities and functions is personalization. And with personalization, the recommendation algorithm goes along so that you log on, you see, well, based on the 10 TV shows you have watched, we recommend you this show. Yeah, it's a great service. It helps to just get some orientation in that massive amount of content which is available. Security is key, and I talked about that already. The infrastructure as a service. On the product and services side, important products are obviously monthly subscriptions, paid, but also non-paid. So one important part of the Netflix business are the monthly free trials. So you can watch 1 month for free all Netflix content, and obviously that is being used as a lead to turn that into a paying customer subscription. Another product are set-top boxes, products and services, also demand support. I said that Netflix needs to provide a really good customer experience, so they need really good support with the proper SLAs and automated services to help customers fast. In the middle, the 4 different views come together in the process view. The process view is bringing the 4 different views together. So core processes from Netflix would probably be pricing and licensing. Yeah? Pricing is a process, and the licensing of content from other production studios are really key because that is all around the content. Besides that, content creation would be a core process, because here we describe how content is being created, what are the requirements, what are the associated costs. Customer experience management, really important. So what you could do with ARIS here is you would describe how a customer is interacting with your business using touch points. And following on those touch points, you would describe customer journeys. So which journey is a customer taking through your organization, consuming your products? Segmentation and marketing, also very important, where you could segment your customers, derive marketing processes, and obviously multi-channel publishing. By the way, if you're interested in customer experience management, if you go to ariscloud.com and click on use cases, there is a customer experience management use case where you see very nicely on how to define customer-centric processes. Well, talking about processes, I like actually to have a look on the process innovation from Netflix, which was enabled through the digital transformation. Well, first of all, let's have a look on the traditional movie rental process. So that is a model, process model which was described in ARIS Cloud. It starts with you want to watch a movie, you had to go to a video store. If you were lucky, the store was open, you would start to search for a movie you want to look for. If you are lucky, then the movie was available, and some of you might remember you wanted to watch a certain movie. It was probably not there. Yeah, it was gone. Or I rented it. Yeah, this is actually a scenario which today is not very common to the younger generation, that content is not available. You had to show your identification card, and hopefully you brought it. If you brought it, you could rent the movie. How great is that? After you rented it, you had to go back home, you had to watch the movie, and you had to bring it back. If you were lucky, the store was still open, you could return it. If the store was already closed, you had to wait until the next day. Again, you had to drive to the store, and you had to pay a late fee. That was the process. Not very convenient, I believe, and as I said in the beginning of that webcast, rather expensive because of all the different stores across the country, of all the physical assets they had to manage. Not very efficient. So let's see how the process innovation looks like. The process innovation from Netflix. So Netflix turned that that process into this process. So you want to watch a movie, you access Netflix using your phone, your tablet, your TV, you select the movie, you watch it, and it's done. So that is a true process innovation based on the digital transformation. And that is the reason why Blockbuster ran out of business and why Netflix is dominating the market. Because the digital transformation is in the processes. And if the process innovation is providing better customer experience, then you will be successful. If your processes provide a bad customer experience, then your business will fail. So if you bring everything together, I said, it's important to see what the competitors do, what the market is doing, what technologies are available. But it's important to think, how can you break that down into processes? Yeah? What does that mean for my processes? That is really key. And ARIS Cloud helps you to do that, because you can structure the different voices using the ARIS house I showed you, because you can link all those different impact factors on your processes. And if you take kind of a bigger picture on that, how ARIS and ARIS, or the classical business process analysis discipline started with, was actually end-to-end processes and business capabilities. Yeah, so it started kind of with business capabilities you would describe like procurement, production, finance, sales, controlling, logistics. Then naturally, you would bring that together. You would say, okay, how do those business capabilities work together in an end-to-end view? So that's kind of the typical business process analysis tool scope. That's what they are doing. But with ARIS Cloud, we go a bit further. We enable IT transformation, which means you can derive requirements for your IT landscape based on the business capabilities and end-to-end processes. And we enable business transformation, which means you can describe customer journeys, you can describe touch points, you can establish a customer experience management discipline in your organization. And if you bring all that together, we enable digital transformation. We enable digital transformation which innovates your processes, which enables you to incorporate all the different voices in your processes to make sure that your business is successful, that you can leverage new technologies, that you can provide innovative services, and that you can avoid the misery Blockbuster went through, but that you can be a successful company like Netflix, which reinvents the market. To do that, it's recommended to follow a typical startup wisdom or approach. It's important to think big, which leads to strategy. So where do you want to develop, and how can you actually do it? How can you achieve it? Yeah? What does it mean for your processes? What does it mean for your culture? How do you need to change? But then start small. Don't boil the ocean. If you want to build up a new business model, then you create a little task force to do that. Choose one product to innovate. Create one process innovation. One reason for that is that you can fail quickly, which is good because you learn. You learn how you make things right and wrong. That's really key. And then you can fix problems and then scale fast. So those 4 points, I think, are very valid for the digital transformation and for process improvement or process innovation. If you want to learn more on how ARIS Cloud can help you to transform your business, please go to www.ariscloud.com/transformation. Here we got great white papers on how to get processes ready for the digital transformation, how to design them for the digital transformation, how to establish new automated processes, how to build up an SAP-based business. So go to that URL, ariscloud.com/transformation. There's also a free trial if you want to design a process, if you want to build up an ARIS house with the different views of your business. You can do that in a rental model. You can do that on a subscription cloud-based model. It takes you a minute, and you can start with your digital transformation initiative. With that, wish you a great day. Don't forget ariscloud.com/transformation, and have fun with your digital transformation. Thank you.